and I say this and people sometimes laugh. I'm like, the age of the NDA is today. Like, 2024 is the year of the NDA. It just is, right? And especially if, depending on what lifestyle you live. And I've said this to people before, and they're like, "Well, Rice, you're saying every single person I date, I should have an NDA, or if a guy came up to me with an NDA, I would never date that guy." Well,
What? That tells me something if they're, like, getting pissy about an NDA, like, what are you wanna send them some.
so it's an interesting discussion, right? So Crystal asked, like, what am I seeing? I'm seeing confidential things that should be kept confidential, getting out of hand, and then we have to deal with it in the absence of confidentiality. So if you come to me and you're a creator, or let's say you're not somebody famous, but you care about things going public. You don't have to be a CEO of a publicly traded company or a huge Instagram model to have a concern about how your stuff is going to be used in the private context, right? There's a reason why non-disclosures exist outside of the things we normally think of, and it's because it's control, it's trust. Like, yeah, it's trust, but now it's a verified trust. So that if I say, hey, if our relationship ends, when there's an understanding, it's short term, whatever, then I can force you to delete that and verify to me, right? Somebody asked a question earlier, how do you know that they've deleted it? I can ask you in a contract to send me proof of the deletion, whatever that is. I can tell you a remedy. If this something goes public, if you share this, there's liquidated damages. There, you can force jurisdiction. You can do things to at least control. People should care about that today. They should, because how fast images and videos and text, people say things in text all the time and they regret, and it comes out in discovery, and I'm looking at it, right? And there's just too many examples of why non-disclosures should be used more, particularly by creators, and it's just not. It's a low-hanging fruit.
So, but when do you bring it up to somebody if you start dating someone? Like, oh, hey,
So
I need you to sign
Before
this
you send
NDA,
them a picture.
right? Like, you don't want to go on the first date and be like, hey, I have this NDA
great,
here. I need you to
great question.
sign.
Great question. So we're now shifting gears into
Right.
Rice being the relationship expert. Let me go there for a second. No, no, look. I'll tell you frankly, because I've advised a lot of different people in a lot of different lifestyles. I've kind of seen two different approaches to this. One is kind of like to do the best analogy. At what point do you discuss um, your STD check with somebody,
Oh, it's
right?
interesting. Okay.
Like, is it something you talk about as the relationship progresses or just before it happens? What's the timing on that? That's one approach, okay, where you say, hey, I think we're at this level, and look, this is just for me. I'd love to do things with our phone and like video and whatever, but this is just really important to me. Are you willing to sign it? If you introduce it like that, I don't think it's as offensive or like, oh my God, like, what are you planning to do? Or no, it's, we can enjoy this and have the same, and it's mutual. It applies to you, it
Yeah.
applies to me. It's a
Yeah.
comfort factor. That's one way. The second way is, I mean, look, there's some people who they're just running through town. I don't know how else to say it. They are just doing all kinds of hookups and short term, and it's an understanding. And if you're that kind of person, you should do the same thing too. You should be telling
Yeah.
people, if all you're doing is let me say it this way, the more electronic fingerprints you leave,
Yeah.
sexting, whatever it is that's going on, the more of that, the more you need to have a frank conversation with that partner of yours about this.
That's the problem is, like, nobody's communicating. They're just embarrassed. Kinda like, "Why are you embarrassed?"
How how soon into the relationship did you talk about the NDA? Yeah, 100%. Sure. Right. See, boom. You nailed it. It's outside of just the purely sexual stuff. And sometimes when I say it, it sounds like it's only about that. And that's a big part of it. But like you said, you might have small talk. Or, or where you live. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. I don't know. To me, that seems a little bit of a red flag if you look through and it's, like, balanced and you're just like, "No, I wanna be able to take money," or something. That seems very
What do you think? So
red
you
flag.
wouldn't if a guy was interested and you let's say you've been dating, you've gone on, some dates and there's sexual tension and he just says, "Listen, I would be comfortable if like as we progress if you would agree to this and it's mutual." What would you say?
I mean, are you saying, like, me sign an NDA?
Yeah,
I would have no problem
you
signing
would
it. Why?
have no
Like,
problem.
I don't have any yeah, like, I don't have any intentions to go spread anybody's, like, information out there. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
I think people in this space, content creators, need to be more mindful about formalities in business. That's just what it is. I mean, you're
Mhm.
promoting a brand. Everything you do is your brand, publicly
Yeah.
and privately, and stuff comes out that you wanna keep private, even if it's not something that's illegal, right? It's just how you live your life, something they saw. You have a get together at your house, and you're doing things that you wouldn't want the general public to know. There are ways to protect that. We're in the era of people video recording and sharing things left and right. I mean, let's be frank.